What's up, party people? Do 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 do. Yo, what's up, Snow Squirrel? Hey, let's go. We're on the home page. Is this the portrait or the landscape version? I think it's the landscape version. Is the screen wide or tall? Because I think yesterday you were in the where I was on top, the thing was on the in the middle, and the chat was on the bottom. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad you found me. What else do you get into, Snow Squirrel? I know you said I think trees and finance. Anything else? Yeah, it's funny. YouTube pretty much pushes everyone into the portrait stream. I like hiking a lot and do a bit of Kyokushin karate. You do sports? I do less sports now. I haven't done anything competitively in a long time, but basketball. Yo, what's up, Jeremiah? I did a lot of basketball growing up, judo, wrestling, but I'm not particularly tall, fast, quick. So sports was tough, but I do okay on a in a pickup game of basketball. What's crazy, Jeremiah? Do you go to gym? I have a home gym. So I live in the gym, you feel me? Judo. Well, I did karate when I was a kid, and then I did judo. And then I moved into wrestling. I hope my kids want to do something similar. My chair is leaning back too far. Ah, perfect. Perfecto. I like hiking a lot as well, but with four young kids, the type of hiking I like to do is tough. Can imagine I went on a walk with my aunt and her kids today. Fun, but the pace is annoying. Yes, yes. We do a family walk, and the kids, for some reason, love slowing way down. Ushak, is it plausible to invest 50% of my future salary in S&P 500? Look at retire early and enjoy the benefits of compounding. I mean, it's definitely plausible. That's what a lot of the FIRE method tells you to do. But the more you can save, the better. I think the minimum is 20% that people should be saving towards retirement of their pre-tax earnings. But if you can do 50, that will likely help you retire early. Do you also build extra pensions all through working for an employee in the USA? No. Uh, in America or USA, they've mostly gotten rid of pensions as a benefit. So yeah, they do something called a 401k. So that's mostly how things are now. So yeah, we most places got rid of the pension because it's a guarantee. So now they do defined contribution plans where they'll give you a percentage of your salary. Only old school legacy institutions still offer pensions. Man, I would honestly, if I could, if I would have known some more that had pensions, I would have considered it. I wonder if any companies will bring that back. Because really, the main reason pensions ended up getting tanked is because, well, I shouldn't say all, but they weren't taking care of their investments properly. Tried about extra with investing to retire earlier or work less someday, but it's still standard here with any job every month, about 126 at this point automatically. Okay, interesting. So, no, were you the one who was bringing up the tax on unrealized gains yesterday? Because I just read about that this morning, and it sounds like it either did pass or is passing that they're going to tax unrealized gains at 36%, which is insane. Are you that Linux guy that walks in the woods? I don't know who the Linux guy is, and I don't walk through the woods. I apologize, Alexander. I'm sorry. That is not me. Yes, that was me. Unfortunately, you are right about the 36% as well. How did this pass? How did it pass, Snow Squirrel? Someone has to explain it to me how that passes. And how does the citizenry feel about it? Apparently, 401k is safer since if the employer goes under, people still guaranteed contributing towards their retirement. I can respect that. So, I mean, there are laws you could put in place for pensions, right? Actually funding pensions. But you are correct. 401k money actually being theirs is worthwhile. And nobody wants to do this, right? But if you work and just took your employer contributions to your 401k after a 40-year career, that would probably get you a pretty decent pension or just a defined payment annuity or something like that. What I know the previous way was said to be false by some judge. It was just a tax, official 6% gain every year from or higher worth, but because fictional, it deemed bad. Interesting. Hey, that's all right, Esdia. It allowed me. So my family left a little bit earlier today, so I actually got to. Maybe I need to send out the alert earlier. Like, should I send the notification today that there's a Saturday, uh, a next Saturday post or a live stream? But I got to hang out with the family more this morning, so I'm not upset about it. Also, pension was tied with end of service package that if you were fired, you lost. Some employers abused that by firing people early. Whoo! Yep. I do agree that a 401k system is better. But things weighed, guaranteed payment in retirement versus what you hope it grows to, I get it. No, I appreciate the insights, Doc. I agree with you. I got one last night, but I usually get one when you go live. Interesting. I didn't know you got one when I went live. And now they were saying they are forced to choose the next decent plan because otherwise they are missing a lot of money and forced by this judge. So, Snow, can I ask you how you feel just living in a high tax society? You know, we joke around in America about these other countries paying a lot of tax, but all things said and done, most Americans pay about 50% tax when you add it all together. Um, but it still is crazy to me the amount of tax that some countries pay, but they do get good benefits. What do you think about Trump saying the Dow will be 100K by the end of his presidency? Yo, that would actually be insane. Now, he's known to be braggadocious. So, does he actually believe it? I don't know. But I did not hear him say it. If that does happen, that would be insanity. Insanity. We pay total 80% tax, direct and indirect both. Man, you think 80 plus? It's a wild amount of tax. Our founding fathers were upset about a small t tax, stamp tax. Yeah, tell me, BT Gamer. I need to know so I can avoid that. My main concern right now is that I need $5 for chicken nugget. $5 for one chicken nugget? That's crazy, bro. Man, in India, you're paying like 80%. Wow. Don't like it. Seems like they reward holding up your hand and being dependent, and you're punished if you work hard and save. Yeah. I forgot what country are you in, Snow? I see the Netherlands is trying to pass. I think it did pass, Estia. Yeah, we were just talking about that. In return, they give us poor air quality, poor roads, facilities, etc. You know, I think the founding of America is not taught anymore because other countries and even Americans would potentially do it again. The Netherlands. Well, so he was saying that direct and indirect, Doc. Direct and indirect was 80%. But yeah, that's absolutely insane, Estia. Unrealized gains. So have they talked about Snow? Have they talked about what'll happen if values were to go down? Is this a one-time tax? Like this feels like a really slippery slope. Well, I remember the Democrats talking about an unrealized capital gain for people with a net worth of over 2 million. Yeah, commit tax fraud. Doc, be careful. You can't prescribe that to people. Have you seen though? There are people online who say taxes. I don't even know how to word this. I forgot what they're called, but that you don't have to pay taxes. My friend has like 6,000 and wants to take a $2,000 trip. I told him no, to wait and save more. What do you think? So Betos, this is a going to be a longer answer than you probably think, but he needs a budget. He needs to have an emergency fund. I highly doubt a $4,000 emergency fund is enough to reach what I think you need. I think you need 12 months of basic living expenses. So I mostly agree with you. Oh, and then you need goals for your money. So I do mostly agree with you that they should save up over time for the trip. But they probably have FOMO, man. They don't want their friends going on a trip without them. Bro, 30% is visible only in front. The remaining 50% is charged on everything from purchasing to selling and also total sales. And after filing tax, they also charge tax affair. Woof. Grandparents bought a home in Santa Cruz in 1980 for 30,000. Sold a while ago, but today is over 1.6 million. Takes 30 grand a month just to afford the house now. Whoo! Like mortgage, property tax, all that sort of stuff. That's wild. They don't really have a plan to then compensate losses yet. Maybe they'll let you calculate the negative with that positive years, but that part is not clear yet. I wonder why. Yeah, it's because they don't plan to do anything. They just want to take. A lot of people are really mad about this, though. So the question is, are your countrymen bold enough to protest this, or are they just going to take it? I'm not. This is not a judgmental question because I think most places in the world, probably even America, just take it. If one side passed an unrealized gains tax here, yeah, I think they do it. It's only the small investor this affects, not the big money companies. That's crazy. If we do fraud and tax, they will raid instantly after they know. If someone rich like Ambani, they will not say a single word. My rule of thumb is don't spend on something that isn't absolute necessities if you can't afford it 10 times over, but I leave that rule for you to verify. I think there are different sets of rules, Doc. I don't think I already forgot my question, Snow, if I asked you a question. My bad. But I don't think there's necessarily a hard and fast rule, Doc, because you could save up for different things. I have nothing against your rule. I have nothing against it. But you know, if you want a $1,000 phone, having at least $10,000 saved up, probably a good place to start. All right, we got twice there. I like that. Although twice is tough too, because then you know, when you say can afford it twice, do you mean liquid cash or do you mean total investments? Dictatorship. Most countries are sort of moving that way. BT Gamer. Slowly and surely, like I think people would be surprised at how much power the presidency has in America now. Myself talking about liquid cash funds. All right. Really interesting that India also made trade deals with US and the Netherlands. Yeah. India is making moves. I just wonder how that will affect everything. Retirement assets, I'll put into that. Stuff I can liquidate. Count my Bitcoin in there. All right. Yeah, for me, there's not like a set amount. Because say you, or a set hard rule, right? If you're saving for retirement and you're on track, and then your next goal is to buy a car, right when you have the amount of money to buy that car, I think it's okay. But you probably need to broaden your thoughts on what your financial goals are. If the only goals you have are retirement and buying a car. World War III knocking. If World War III starts, then I'll be glad that I quit my corporate job and I got to spend so much time with my family. You can check total GDP and total per capita in India, and after that, check per capita by removing top 5 richest person. Interesting. One sec here. Roses are red. Doing good, Nikhil. Doing good. My wife and I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, though. As weird as that might sound. Man. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm free advice guy. Who are you? The world economy seems to be tough. Giant pine cone. It is the biggest pine cone I've ever seen. I had to have it. I think I found it somewhere near Big Bear in California on a trip with my friends. I was going to look at a car today, but my friend that I was going to go and look at it with was he's sick, so we're unable to go. He's my friend that I trust to look for things I'm not looking for with a car. But yeah, I was looking at buying a Toyota Sequoia. I hope not. Supposedly, Trump told Netanyahu we don't want war with Iran. Mostly need to build a bigger emergency fund at this point. Invested way more than saved. If I were to lose job, I need a new job or clients myself with 1 month basically, or sell investments. Yeah. I don't know if you need a 12 months, the same as I recommend here. But it definitely helps. Netanyahu said, what about his video from our old friend Epstein? I highly doubt Epstein's got anything on Trump. Man, Kevin, you got to come in with the news. You got to come in with something new. I'm just sort of getting to the point. I'm gonna ban you. You got to come up with something better than this, Kevin. I know you have it in you. If you're gonna come in and troll people, you got to do better. You can't just say the same basic things over and over again. Kevin, your elitist parents would be embarrassed by your behavior. Embarrassed. I promise you, Kevin. Not my loss. Not my loss. At what price would you consider buying Bitcoin? Ooh, what a good question. I don't know that there is a certain amount that I would consider buying it. I'm not opposed to Bitcoin, but now that it appears to be getting favor with the government, there's going to be regulation and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, it feels really weird. It's also not reacting the way you would expect it to react as digital gold. So I don't know. I don't know what that price would be. What about you, UG? I know, but it does seem weird that Netanyahu has been to the White House 7 times this past year, and we know what they want. All at war with Iran. I think it will be hard for Iran to give up. Yeah. The thing that's most upsetting about Iran, and this is where I actually feel... Yo, what's up, Caleb? This is where I struggle. The Iranian people were free 50 years ago. What's that? The Iranian people were free 50 years ago. And now they're not. And that's tough. I think 6 months might even be enough, but a year would be amazing. Not that hard to find work as a certified arborist, fortunately. Nice. But finding a good company, different story. Very interesting. All right, you stop selling, Caleb. Nuclear weapons because of our past, especially when you see Iraq, Libya. Yeah. Hard for them to give up the nuclear weapons? Yeah. I think the world is essentially cooked, though. See, this is tough because I don't really like being an interventionalist, but I think the world is cooked if a country like Iran gets it, gets them. All right, so what made you stop, Caleb? Did you get in trouble? It's a pine cone, Avi. It's okay, Caleb. I'm a noob. Depending on what it is, I could be a noob. Roblox, I'd be a noob. Call me a noob at Valorant. Them's fighting words, though. You should make a playlist related to finance purely for a young generation. Interesting. So Free Advice Guy is going to move to hey, what's up, Luca? Free Advice Guy, we're actually moving to a non-profit. I don't have the exact timing because I'm not 100% sure how to do it here, but we are going to move to a non-profit. And once we do that, I do plan to create courses. But Rude Rakash, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but are you saying a playlist from other people? I don't think the Iran Ayatollahs want a blade. Yeah, it's definitely possible there, Esdia. I've been playing Minecraft. All right. From you or anyone who is experienced. So my main issue is it's hard to endorse what someone else says because I probably don't agree with them fully. But I like that idea. If I found a clip that's just a principle that I agree with, that would be awesome. So maybe I'll do that. I appreciate the suggestion. All right, so you're playing Minecraft, but you're not sure why you stopped. You just stopped selling. Have you thought about other money making ways? And then Snow, why is it hard to find a good company? Hey, all right, Snow. Anyone played The Witcher 3? Amazing game? No, I have not. And accounting too? I'm not an accounting specialist, so that probably wouldn't be my there. But there's a lady named Jasmine Delula or something like that. I like watching her. I can just sit back and relax. All right. When everyone else is relaxing, you should be working, Caleb. Educational video about basic finance concepts and tips for young people would be useful. I do plan to do that, Luca. I do plan to do that, especially as we move into the nonprofit space. I'm going to finally create courses that I can give away for free. Good company where coworkers are nice, management is not like an enemy wanting you to do more so they can make even more money and give nothing in return. All right, that makes sense. You should get Minecraft. It's a really fun game. I just don't have enough time, Caleb. I generally only have time for one game at a time, maybe two, but I always play with my friends. Hey, thanks, Rudd. Ah, 40,000 foreclosures in January is a sign of something more serious coming. Is that true, Estia? Bank sees 40,000 homes in just a month, and the pain is only beginning. Wow. A 32% increase. All right, so it was like 27,000 last year at the same time. Foreclosure starts when lenders will begin the process of taking back a home are up 26%, while completed repossessions have surged nearly 59%. Interesting. Wow. What is the foreclosures? I don't know what that is. Maybe it's my bad English. Luca, it's essentially when people don't pay their mortgage, the bank come and takes the house back from them in America. By the way, they're a red versus blue thing from the Matrix, but it almost started as mass murder at my school and a different school, and a park got closed down with police everywhere. It was kind of scary. Wait, what? Finished Mafia trilogy. Is that a game, Rudd? For everybody who's there, do you think dentist or doctor? I think it depends on the type of work and the hours you want to keep, right? I think dentists make a lot of money and don't have to do as many hours of work. Need some tips for roulette so I can clear off my debt. I have no tips. Don't gamble. Use the avalanche or snowball method to clear out your debt. Man, that's like wow. Man, Sdia hit me with a crazy story. Caleb hits me with a crazy story. RS hits me with a crazy question. Play Doc hit me with a good question. But what are you weighing back and forth, Play Doc? Some people don't respect Dennis. Why? Yo, what's up, Ak? I'm gonna call you Akshi and not finish that last part. Have you read Machiavelli? No, I've listened to it though, but it's a Tupac album. So, what do you recommend investing in Roth IRA? VU SPY or dividend ETFs? All right, Dare. This is a super deep question. So you want your Roth IRA generally to have the most explosive growth potential, and dividends don't generally give you that. But if you are going to have income producing securities, they should be in a tax advantaged account like an IRA so that you're not taxed on all the dividends every time they pay. So, man, this is a really deep question. Can you add more layers to it? Because there are times where everything that you mentioned could be okay. I think dentists are doctors of teeth, just like ear and nose specialists. They even do surgery, basically. Yeah, I agree. Why do people not respect dentists? And also, if you're making bank, who cares? I promise you, your life will be significantly better if you stop worrying about what other people think. Like you're making a lot of money, you can do the things you want to do, you can buy the things you want to buy, and someone goes, "You're a dentist? Meh. I have a traditional 401k. All right." So, assuming you also add the third bucket, which is a taxable brokerage account, I personally would put dividend things into the traditional. I respect my dentist. I've been going to the same one for 31 years. Man, known him since you were a kid. USA just sent its second aircraft carrier in Middle East, but it's not very large. All right, so here, let me ask you another question, Dare. Why do you want to own dividend ETFs or income producing stuff? Let's go with that. I only don't like gynecologists. What? Since I was 5 years old? That's crazy. Guys, this might be too much information, but I have to pee. I'm really sorry. Be right back. Hit me with these questions. Hit me with those answers. I got to know, Dare. Wait, lots of respect for them. Without them, I would be in pain now or have way less and bad teeth. They fix my teeth, save my long-term health. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Play Doc, I need you to come back in here and tell me, answer us. You got my mind stirring about how people could not respect dentists. All right, be right back. All right, I'm back from my too much information break. Like, police had to intervene with the fight, and government had to close Shortage Park because that's where it was. It's going to be, wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Who was it between? Who were the warring factions? Hey, so SD, going back to the foreclosure stuff. Delaware has the most per capita. That's kind of crazy. Delaware has the most per capita, then Nevada, then Florida. What's crazy is even the houses in 2000, the last time people thought it was good to buy because interest rates were low, people were still having fairly high payments. So I'm going to give it a maybe. That's definitely not good news, Esdia. That's definitely not good news. I need some advice on how to get $5 for chicken nugget. You got to get a job, Forgotten. A job will do it. I kind of forgot it's Valentine's Day. Is this a big day for a lot of people? That's true. He keeps saying chicken nugget, singular. I have read and heard many different strategies when it comes to Roth IRA. One of them is dividend route. Want to get your opinion on it. Yes, but it's not very large. My school and a different school, but who else? How's it break down? What are the factions? Oh yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Not a big day for me. Also, I'm single. Okay, but what if I need chicken nugget but don't want job? Well, then you're asking for other people to pay for your food. If this were in history, ooh, give Valentine's to my kids. I like that. Yeah, we took our kids to like a group Valentine session with other kids. Hello, Caleb. Um, so dare you to join. I would need to know more about it because there is a tax efficiency reason to do it, but I would need to know more about the strategy to be able to comment on it. Because if you have those dividend producing securities in a taxable account, right, they go to your taxable income every year. That's not very tax efficient, especially if you're working. So that might be why they have it in the Roth, but I would have to know more about why they're saying to put the dividend producing securities in a Roth. Because generally, the most advantageous thing to do in a Roth is get as much growth as possible so you're tax free. Right? Now what they might be saying is, well, then it produces dividends, and then when you reach the age and the time frame to take distributions from a Roth IRA where it's not taxable, then the dividends aren't taxed. Like, all right, but neither are distributions if you have a much larger nest egg. Right? If you in your Roth IRA go for just growth and then you want dividends, you can always sell your growth positions after they've grown larger and move them into dividend positions, right? So give me a little bit more so I can give you a real answer on it. Also, Estia, the other thing, I don't know if you paid attention to this, but housing prices have dropped. I think we either talked about that in a Patreon stream or another stream, but housing prices have dropped over the country, I believe, close to 20% as a national average. Luca, that is potentially part of it. But SD and I were talking about this. I don't know if it was a Patreon stream or another stream, but we have no idea how many have actually left the country. They've thrown out a number, but how do they possibly know that that number is legit? You know what I mean? I have not visited the island, RS. No. Would be interested if this is just USA or rest of world too on foreclosures or housing prices, Luca. According to Zillow, mine is worth 20K more than in 2024. Very interesting. Housing prices? That's a good question. I don't know about internationally. Do I have a PlayStation? I do not. Yo, what's up, Krishna? We have a housing crisis too here in the Netherlands, and part is because higher prices. Yep. Everything's outpriced for most normal people. I see what you mean. Overall, whichever strategy I take, it will be tax free money. Correct. Exactly. If we deport 100% of people, maybe houses will be free. They won't be free, Luca, but people don't really think about how much illegal immigration, and this is everywhere in the world, hurts their ability to afford everything. Everything. Do I like tacos? I do like tacos. My wife is Mexican. I get some amazing tacos. Although she doesn't make tacos very much, but the family does. Kanish, welcome. They stopped the deportations anyway. It looks bad for the midterms. Really? You think deportations look bad for the midterms? Well, it's very interesting as well, the SAVE Act, where they want voter ID. I don't wonder, bro. So chill. I think it does when the media is against you. Yeah, but I think normal people see it and it's like, wait, they're protesting what now? Oh man, I forgot what point I was just about to go down. Man. Me llamo Caleb. I think immigration is about 10% of the problem here. Hard to say. And they take about 8% of social housing that's available every year. But imagine if they took zero, Snow Squirrel. Imagine if they took zero. Yeah, that's true. Obama did deport more, and the media said nothing. They proudly called him the deporter in chief. I'm 41, Kanish. Buenos dias, amigos. I should definitely speak more Spanish, but I do not. I have a quick question. I'm 23, fully fund my Roth IRA and contribute 10% of my income into a company 401k with a 10% match. So are you getting 20%, Wiley? My wife's and his only debt is a mortgage, $1,360 a month in escrow. We have $35K. Krishna, I do not celebrate Valentine's Day. My wife and I do not. Is China a threat to America in recent times? Uh-oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I think they're a threat to everybody. They're, what do they call it? Bridges and Roads Initiative, where they essentially take over countries, is rough. Man, that's a good amount of retirement you got going on, Wiley. I love that. Man. Belton Road, there we go. Belton Road, yep, is an incredibly dangerous policy for how they end up owning countries. God created the world. Everything else was made in China. All right, so Wiley, I hijacked you here. What question did you have off the back of that? You're doing great at 23, by the way, Wiley. And about Valentine's Day, I have a doubt. So love only works one day a year. The other 364 days are on maintenance mode or what? If you're really in love, shouldn't it be all year? Yeah, my wife and I purposely don't celebrate Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day. If we ever do anything, we'll go out like the 12th. Not even the 13th or the 15th. We'll go the 12th. Maybe the 11th. But even that we don't really do. The special day just feels like an annual reminder to singles that we exist. And we're watching. That's hilarious. My question is, we got an offer to buy a $12,000 Jeep, 80,000 miles, because my wife's car is questionable at times in the cold. With a baby on the way, I don't know what makes sense. Jeep Grand Cherokee. Hey, Wiley, this is kind of random that you're in here, but I've been doing research on a car. Have you ever looked into first or second generation Toyota Sequoias or a minivan? Just throwing that out there. When you have kids, a minivan is way better than anything else. I'm just throwing it out there. But have you looked into Toyota Sequoias? I'm not a huge fan of Jeep for reliability, but I keep hijacking your question, Wiley. I apologize. It will be a bifurcated world. I'm interested to see what currencies will look like in 20 years. Yeah, it will be interesting. How can I make a good sum of money while managing college? Kanish, what skills do you have? Hey, what's up, Daddy Calling? What's up, Kosaksi? So what skills do you have? What skills and abilities do you have that other people need? What problems can you solve for people, Kanish? Sometimes you got to think outside of the box. Can you make snacks that people will pay more than they cost you? Do you have the time for it? Content creation, and sometimes I write like stories or scripts for reels, you know. Do you have a Fiverr account, Kanish? Because honestly, one of the things you could do is create a Fiverr account, undercut everybody. You know what I mean? Undercut everybody, build up a clientele, and then increase your prices over time. I have not, but I have a Jeep Cherokee that has not been in the shop once and 140K miles. Okay. so they can be reliable, but depends on maintenance. This car, Kelly Blue Book's at 17,000, and I would hate to skip this. Okay, so for 12,000, I mean, yeah, I hear that. And do you have the cash aside? Do you have an emergency fund, Wiley? Right, you should have an emergency fund, and then you should have money set aside for a car payment. I'm sorry, not for a car payment, to buy a car. And my wife's car died, and we were forced into something. I feel that. What do you think about Sukhoi fighter jets from Russia? I don't know enough about them, Krishna. I honestly don't know anything about them. Dragon Boy Games. I will not be asking a question of advice. I am simply here to ask for your top 3 chip flavors. Salt and vinegar is number 1. Man. Maybe hickory barbecue. And then I forgot what the... Man, there's a Doritos. Other brands do it too, but it's a specific type of Hispanic flavoring. Oh, man. Do you have an Amazon wish list? I do not. I don't even have an Amazon account. I have 35K cash, 25 is reserved. Wait, will China back the yuan with gold? Is that what why their central bank is hoarding so much? That would be, if they do that, that would be crazy. Although, I don't know that they can. The gold standard does have, no, it's not Sriracha. They don't have, it limits the amount you can print, and a lot of countries don't want that. Hold on a second. Doritos, flavors. Let me see this. Just look at images here. No, it's not the chili one. Oh, here it is. No, salsa verde. I don't think it's salsa verde. Nope, that's not it. Man, for real, it's not listed here. All right, let me look this up a different way. Hispanic flavors. Okay, this took me to... Maybe it is salsa verde? It's not. They're circle chips. Anyway, I'm spending too much time on chips. I apologize. Is healthcare really that expensive in America, or is it just exaggerated? It depends on what you mean, Kanish. Insurance companies make it expensive. If you tell wherever you're going for healthcare that you don't have insurance, almost guaranteed they will drop the price by 50% or more. I'm stuck between it being lifestyle creep and the safety of my incoming child. No. So, Wiley, this is... hold on, let me just... I'm going to go through real quick my 5 steps of financial success, and then we can talk specifically about this car. Number 1, a budget. Detailed budget down to the penny. I'm going to assume you guys actually have that just from the way you're talking. Number 2, an emergency fund. I believe you should have 12 months of basic living expenses. I know some people think that's crazy. We can go over that if you want. From there, goals for your money, right? You're already hitting your retirement hard. So you're doing good there. As a quick aside, you should know how much you're saving for, because you're going to get to a point that you can stop retirement contributions. Or you can keep going and retire much earlier. But just throwing that out there. So with that, I don't think there's any such thing unless you're making a real bad purchase, right? You're buying it cash. You could probably sell your wife's car for something, right? This isn't going to, it doesn't sound like it's going to hurt you financially. And you're going to be able to buy this car, have peace of mind of a safe car for your family. That's invaluable. You can't look at a decision like that just monetarily, right? And you'd be getting a good deal on this vehicle. So I know I just threw a lot at you. Let me know what thoughts or questions you have. I just wanted you to read The Bitcoin Standard. I thought it was a pretty good book on the history of money. Okay. I'm still driving Peugeot 206, bought the car for $2,000 5 years ago. Low costs, repairing, maintenance, and doesn't ask that much fuel. As long as that thing starts, I'll keep it. Yeah. I'm about to grab a 20-year-old Toyota Sequoia. Because if you take care of them, they can go 500,000 miles or more. There are 2 documented cases of these cars going a million miles. My son would have cost $60,000 for his birth if I didn't have insurance. Still cost me $6,500 out of pocket. Wow. Were there complications, Esdia? What are your qualifications? This is a great question. I'm a CFP professional financial advisor, which means I'm a fiduciary. I have to do what's in your best interest. If you're not in America, a CFP is the most widely respected, top of the line credential in America. I worked at Vanguard for 13 years. I don't know if you care about my licensing, but I passed the 6, the 7, the 63, the 65, and the 24. All makes sense. Just need other people's opinions to make sure I'm not crazy. Also, I have a goal of early retirement. How early to be determined? You're on pace to retire super early if you keep this up, Wiley. Super early. Super early. If you don't have the third bucket, I do recommend you start putting aside also some taxable brokerage money as well. Some old Volvos also make that. Whoo! Emergency C-section. All right. So the one thing, though, they probably didn't give you the non-insurance price, Estia. Not saying it wouldn't have been crazy, but... dude, Kanish, I ended up going down a rabbit hole on the most reliable cars. And, yeah. The Toyota Sequoia is randomly one of the more reliable cars in the history of cars. Here it is. It is Salsa Verde. Okay, Tostitos, not Doritos, Tostitos Salsa Verde. I forgot who asked the chip question. Cooler Ranch doesn't exist, but that flavor was awesome. Let's see here. I have started an S&P 500 brokerage account whenever the Trump tariffs crashed the markets last year. Okay, that means you're getting all three buckets, baby. Because we don't know what the tax code is going to be when you retire. But if you have all three buckets, you could take money out tax efficiently. You know what I mean? Kanishk. Dude, this sound just keeps repeating over and over again. Your views on Merchant Navy as a carrier? I don't know that I have enough detail to make a view statement on that. What's the logic of 12-month emergency fund? Also, does it change with two incomes? Wiley, asking important questions. All right, so the reason for 12 months, I'll give that part first, and then we'll go over if it changes with two incomes. The reason for 12 months is, number one, if it's only 6 months, the moment you spend a single dollar, it feels much shorter. I only have 5 months and something. 12 months gives you a full year to find what you want as opposed to taking the next available job. Number two, the reason 12 months is there is people almost always spend more than they think they're going to spend when the emergency happens, right? If you lose your job, you think, we only spend $2,500 a month. Well, then they end up spending $3,200 a month from the emergency fund. So people underestimate the amount they're going to spend when an emergency happens. Now, does it change with two incomes? Possibly. So, and remember, it's basic living expenses, not 12 months of income, basic living expenses. So, if you're both in relatively stable jobs, right? And you know that even if you lost your job, your wife isn't likely. Or if your wife lost your job, you're not very likely. You maybe don't need as much emergency fund. There are multiple things that can change the amount of emergency fund you have. Over my years, 12 months just gives you the most peace of mind and the most wiggle room if things go different. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, bro loves chips. Somebody asked me my flavors, Kanishk. Let's see here. I already answered that one. Let's see here. Your views on Merchant Navy as a carrier? I still don't have enough, Mayan. Now America blames China. In the early 2000s, America helped set up manufacturing factories in China. America's just funding and chilling. Now China's growth scares America. Yep. Clinton. I believe it was Clinton. made one of the worst mistakes ever. We essentially outsourced all of our manufacturing to China. We were going to become a consumer nation, not a producer nation. And while I understand the logic, and you can write down good reasons why that's a good thing, it's fundamentally terrible for your country not to make things. Now, we're using fiat dollars, which aren't real and are printed out of nothing, to buy actual goods. I get that. It's still terrible for your country not to produce things. And America blames China for everything. It was America's mistake. Now BYD is better than Tesla. America didn't expect that. Yeah, BYD is interesting. I watched an episode from, it was either Big Time or Donut, talk about the BYD car. Can you count the 12 months in invested accounts too? I generally don't like to, SDia. Wait, what did you want to ask, Snow? I don't see a previous question. I generally don't count investment accounts, SDia, because selling investments actually compounds the emergency, right? So say it's July, February is early, but say you get fired in July, and now you have to start selling investments to pay your bills. You now potentially have capital gains tax added on top of it that now you owe taxes on. Now, it could work itself out depending on how much you make, you know what I mean? But yeah, I keep 6 months in my high yield savings account, the rest invested. I'm not anti 6 months, but I did but hopefully my reasons made sense. As someone who isn't opposed to buying real estate, what would be your advice on starting, or what are your takes against real estate? So, do you want to be a landlord? I have a rental property and I don't like it. I dislike being a landlord. If I could go back now, I would have taken that money and probably just thrown it in the stock market and let it ride. Now, I would have missed out on some income returns, absolutely. But the growth would be nice, and I'd be sitting on a large pile of money that I could do something with. Now that I'm this far deep, if I sell it, the tax consequence is not going to be great. Now, if you are going to go down this path, one of the best ways to do it, right, like what a lot of people do, I'm going to give you 2 examples, is your first home. They're going to say, hey, you qualify for a $500,000 home. You should buy a $350,000 home so that your mortgage is less, especially if you view it as your starter home. You don't need that much space. Especially with just a baby, you don't need much. So then your mortgage is low. That way, when you're done living in it, the mortgage is low. You can rent it out for likely more than your mortgage, and your cash flow is better. Or the very popular thing right now is home hacking. You buy a duplex or triplex, a quadplex. You live in one, you rent out the other 3 until you're ready to move out and start renting out that 4th one. Let me know what thoughts or questions you have. What do you think about silver coins as diversification when price settles again? I bought a bit in 2024 before starting with ETFs. So as long as you understand why you're buying metals, I actually have a post about this on my Patreon if you care to read it. It's free. But in short, metals, gold especially, and silver sort of, have been a value retainer. It's approximately within range the same amount to buy a home in metals in their values for the last 100 plus years. Somewhere between 75 and 150 ounces of gold has been able to buy you a median house in America for the last 100 plus years. I think it's more like 130 years, right? So metals generally retain their value, right? So if you have them as a value retainer, right? You can kind of look at them as an inflation hedge, things like that. I think they could be an okay thing to add to your portfolio. But some people now look at metals as a way to get rich. And personally, I don't see it that way. But it is a way to make sure that your money doesn't lose value. Not make sure. Sorry, that's too strong. It'll help you not lose value. Whoo! All right, we just fired back. All right, give me one sec. That was oh. Sorry. All right, we're back. Bro, I think they made a mistake by choosing a dictator country. It's a non-democratic country. Who made a mistake, Krishna? I also have a doubt America cannot be China. Yes, America has the money, but what about the population and the workforce? Population isn't necessarily a benefit. In my Roth, I have 3 ETFs, one total stock market ETF, international market ETF, and total bond ETF. 75, 15, 10 split. Okay. My only issue with that split is you are young and you're 90-10, right? That might be perfect for you because a 90-10 allows you to rebalance. I guess if I were to add something else, that's a super low international amount to have in there, right? So I believe the world market is somewhere like 70-30 domestic to international. It might even be 60-40. It's somewhere in there. So you just are low by weighting in international, but I have nothing against your portfolio, Wiley. What shoes are you wearing and do you recommend a brand? Uh-oh, you guys are about to get into my weirdo-ness. I wear a brand of shoes called Splays. If you don't know anything about your toe box after this conversation, you might. We have essentially wide toe box flat shoes, and we go with a brand called Splays. My 401k has less options, but I went large cap index, mid cap index, small cap index, and international index. I mean, by doing that, you're actually, okay, so 40, 20, 20, you're actually lowering the amount by weighting of large cap in your portfolio because the large cap stocks are almost 80% of the US stock market. And then you're increasing your mid cap and small cap exposure. If you're okay with that, there's nothing wrong with that split. And the same thing with the international. It's just a little bit low compared to market weighting. Hey, later, Luca. We do quite well so far with our 19, 20 million people. Yeah, huge population size can actually be a detriment, especially when things start going bad. I only asked because I ordered some Yeezy Boost 350s. Let's go. I have considered getting some Yeezy shoes. I just, I haven't thought any of them were awesome looking. You know what I mean? I like, dude, my shoes. Hold on a second. Please don't judge me for how dirty they are. But these are my shoes. Look how wide that toe box is. Super wide. The black 350s look super cool. At 23, what would be your direction in both funds? This is not financial advice. Yes, let me, one sec, Wiley. Okay, so I don't know anything about your risk tolerance, Wiley, because historically, um, stocks outperform, right? Being 100% stock, even with downturns and all that stuff, outperforms. But you have to align your investments with your risk tolerance. Fancy shoes, they're like the most basic shoes. They're essentially cloth with a little rubber thing on the bottom. That's it. Um, so you have to line up your risk tolerance with your investments. Now, all I care about in retirement is the end. I'm not a panicker. Okay. Because even in retirement, people will have stocks, right? A very common retirement portfolio is 50-50 or 60-40 stock bonds. The one benefit to having, or not the one, but a huge benefit to having bonds in your portfolio is you now have a portion of your portfolio to rebalance. So say we ran into a scenario where April of 2025 happens again and we see sort of an irrational dump on stock prices. There's something called a flood to quality. People leave stocks and move money into bonds. So you get kind of like an artificial bump. This is not guaranteed, but you get an artificial bump in your bond prices. Well, then you sell out of those bonds and you buy stocks while they're low, right? Because if you're 90-10 and the stock market tanks, you're now at 80-20, 70-30. You now take those bonds and buy stocks while they're low, get you back to 90-10. Then through the subsequent recovery, assuming we get back to where we were, you not only recoup everything you lost, you're actually ahead because you bought shares of stock while they were low. Yes, I'm a wide toe too. I have some White's Perry Select boots for work. They're the most comfortable boot I have ever worn, but they are expensive, like $4.50 a pair. Yeah, these splays for what they are more expensive than they should be. But they look kind of fancy. They're for truly basic shoes. I think they're like 60 or 70 bucks a pop. China has a smaller GDP than the USA, but higher population, and only a small amount of people live below the poverty line. In the USA, with a lower population, more people live below the poverty line. What is the reason? Oh man, now you're going to get me into a little bit of political talk, and I don't mean to. But the answer is welfare, Krishna. People don't have to work here. That's the problem. Because you might be in the poverty line because of your earnings, but your welfare state here will take care of you. Pay your rent, pay for your food, pay for your insurance. Being in poverty here is actually can be a benefit, especially if you game the system. I really hate to say that. All right, what you think, Wiley? I don't know if I said this, Wiley, already, but I'm a CFP professional financial advisor. I worked at Vanguard for 13 years. I quit my job to help more people directly, kind of like this, have a multiplicative effect. Because I hope everybody who hears these answers to your questions is learning for themselves as well. And for everybody's questions. No, because poverty is different in USA versus China. Poverty in the US is working at McDonald's and living in basement versus living in slums in China. I mean, that's very true. Living conditions are much different. I would like to know more about China's ghost towns because they built a bunch of towns that are empty, which is strange. Seems very strange to me. So my summary of what you said is bonds can be useful during dips, but at my age, more stock are likely to be beneficial and more international exposure. Yes, that is my belief on the stock market. Because even though you can rebalance from your bonds, the time that you lose not invested in stocks is not made up for by rebalancing. International has also been getting dominated by US stocks for the last like 18 years. Historically, they've inverted each other. Domestic would outpace, international would outpace. So this is also not a guarantee. But if you're looking at trying to buy low, international feels like a time to buy low. But who knows when or if that will actually take off. Just watch Caleb Hammer. All the military people on his show seem to have problems and are on 100% disability. I've seen that. I'm in high school, earned approximately 35K. Is it good? I did it by doing trading professionally. I mean, 35K in high school is amazing. When I was 27, I had $18,000 to my name. Yo, what's up, DK? That's 34K more than I was making at that age. Yes. When you say trading professionally, what does that mean, Ved? Hey, that video that you posted, Ved, I think it's missing from the thumbnail of something what? The beginning of something what? Right? You got to get, there's no hook there. The beginning of something could be the beginning of anything. The beginning of what? That's what I would recommend if you were to change your thumbnail. Now, I'm not a master at this. All of my videos have 0 views. So if you guys really want to make my day, pull up my long form videos, watch them from beginning to end, and give them a like. You don't want to work there. Can you explain? I heard that for the first time. How do people get money then? When you say you don't want to work there, what do you mean? So America is the land of opportunity. It is the easiest country to get rich. It is the easiest country to get rich. But because of our welfare system, it is actually, I forgot what it's called, but it incentivizes it. Once you're in the welfare system, it incentivizes you not to move up in the world. Because if you increase the amount of money that you're making, you become eligible for less benefits. So people will purposefully earn less. People will also purposefully stay unmarried, even though for all intents and purposes they are married. They live together, they pay the bills together, but they say they're not married so that one of them can or both of them can qualify for benefits. Using SMC concepts with a proper strategy, giving a decent win rate, controlling emotions and greed, and not trading over leverage, and strictly using risk management. Dubai is kind of better than USA, to be honest. Well, Dubai's kind of new. I'm finally getting near 10K net worth at 25 years for contrast. Yeah, but you're doing it right, Snow. You're also, you got to remember, in America, you're on your own. Not really, because we get, some Social Security. But for the most part, people are on their own. You got to make your own money here. Nobody's going to let you retire early unless you have the funds for it. You know what I mean? Unless you get disabled. Hey, how do you guys feel about the shorter streams? I do about 2 hours on YouTube. I'm considering a day where I stream for like 6, 8 hours on YouTube. Dish Dash. Any advice for a 22-year-old man how to get stable for marriage to live his entire life in Indonesia if he is from India? Man, the Indonesia and India part throw a wrench in because I don't know anything about it there. But rule number 1, spend less than you make. Rule number 2, live like you're broke until you're rich. And the only way to do that is with a detailed budget. Do you ever plan to live somewhere outside the U.S.? I do not. Now, I would and have considered some places, right? Like, I understand the benefits of living in, I believe, Puerto Rico for the tax benefits and all that sort of stuff. Karthik, hey, how do I stop phone addiction? Turn it off and put it away. Go find activities, like literally truly find other activities. Turn off your phone, leave it at home, go somewhere. Ooh, I like Estia's maybe even better. Get a phone that's less capable. Get a phone that's less capable. I would want to ditch smartphone for a while, but most jobs nowadays expect you to have a smartphone. Yep. I could not, when I worked for Vanguard, I would not have been, it would have been way more difficult to log in working from home without a smartphone. Do 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 do. Saw it on YouTube. An Indian reporter asked Elon Musk if you want to purchase any company stocks. Okay, Elon thinks you should buy Nvidia. He didn't say Tesla. Do you think Nvidia could change the market and maybe become the biggest company in the world in the future? I think it was the biggest company in the world at one point. I will say it's possible, but they're not going to be the only company. Like, what is truly Nvidia's edge? Is it their uh, is it their engineers? Is it their thought leadership? Right, there will always be people who want to take on and take over Nvidia. Does that mean they'll do it? No, but it's something that people got to think of. Chips, the GPUs, powerful AI models like ChatGPT, self-driving cars, and supercomputers. But other companies can get into that as well, right? So it's not that, again, it's not that they can't, and they might. I think it's just difficult to bet on one. It's just difficult to bet on one. AI demands are skyrocketing and NVIDIA is at the center. Companies and researchers rely heavily on NVIDIA hardware. Correct. Right now. And again, they might be the company that's going to dominate the next 30 years. But who knows? Right? Is AMD just going to lay down and take it? Maybe. Who knows, you know? With extra time this year, I'm thinking about taking some online courses. What do you think about a BS in supply chain, trans, logistics? Yeah, that could be good. I don't know what the job market looks like 5, 10 years from now. You know. Don't want to get political. But what do you think about Trump being uncareful, unrespectful to the allies in Europe? Whoo, snow squirrel. How do I go about this? I don't think the European allies have been respectful to their own populations. They are restricting free speech, like how many people get arrested for things they say on the internet. Do I think he could be better in the way that he addresses things? Yes. But I think there are some big concerns with the allies in Europe. I don't know. What if China makes chips in low cost? Boom, there's another one, Krishna. International markets as well. Luckily, my job pays for it. Oh, okay. Then yeah, man. If your employer is going to pay for it, keep adding initials, Asdia. If it's on someone else's dime, keep adding initials if they interest you. Right? Vanguard would have paid for me to go back to school, but after I got my CFP for what I wanted to do in life, I didn't need like a master's degree or anything like that. All right, guys. We have reached the 2-hour mark. We might go ahead and call that a stream. Were there any final questions? I will be moving over to TikTok in about 10, 15 minutes, something like that. So, but if you have any final questions here for YouTube, let's get it. I don't want to talk politics, man. Nowadays, protests and riots are increasing in the West. Is it because of the political leaders or because of illegal migrants? If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, Krishna, it's because they're being paid to protest. Protests are being paid for in America with our own tax dollars, man. If you want to go down a rabbit hole, look up American NGOs. I forgot what NGO stands for, but look up American NGOs. Yeah, there we go, Esdia. Yeah, Krishna, to find out what's truly going on in America, you cannot listen to the one of 6 media sources that control 90% of what people consume in America. They just regurgitate the same things over and over again. But yeah, our protesters are paid here. They are paid. It's quite an embarrassment, honestly. They have video proof of people who have attended over 100 protests. A single individual somehow has the ability to go to over 100 protests in different states. And I don't know if you've ever looked at America, but our states, it's not easy to go to a bunch of different states, especially without a job. They are crisis actors. Hey, what's up, Prad? I'm not going to say that name on stream because I don't know what'll happen to me. George Soros. Prad, we're about to end stream here, my brother. We're going to be moving over to TikTok here in a few minutes. I take my little 5-10 minute break between streams. Let the voice chill. But I hope things are going well for you, brother. And Prad, don't, yeah, seriously, don't judge me for what you see around me. I'm actually getting a real sign soon. Actually, I'm going to call them in between because they haven't called me back. And I'm actually pretty annoyed that they haven't responded. I'm going to pull them up right now. How you guys have... Krishna, you're trying to get me put on a list, my brother. You are trying to get me put on a list. I really... Okay. No. What? Printing specialist. Here we go. Yeah, man, it's tough to say. But anyway, I'm getting a full background here, Prad. Don't judge me for this right now. This is all I got right now. But at least it gives people a little more about what we're doing here. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end stream now. Krishna, we can begin this conversation later. But research it, man. Research it. It's tough. It's tough. But, all right, guys, have yourself a good one. I will catch you soon. Thank you for everything. Bye, everybody.